Hi guys, how are you doing? The exam season has arrived. The notification for IBPS has arrived. It's happening a little early this time, so that's not such a good news. But any exam, any vacancies, it's always good news, right? Like that. We're not going to talk about IBPS in this session. This is about something very specific. It's about the prelims of RRB exams, both RRB and RRB clerk. What about it? You know that the pattern of this exam is a little different from some of the other exams, right? So what is the pattern like? It's 45 minutes composite time, and you get two subject areas, reasoning and quant, and there is no separate time limit for this. So it's like one big test of 45 minutes in which you get 80 questions to attempt. 40 questions are from quant and 40 are from reasoning. It's the pattern for both clerk and PO, both for officer and office assistant, right? So that's the pattern. Now this pattern should be good in the sense that you've got that freedom, you can allocate time here, there, anywhere. So that's good news about it. The bad part here is that you have to take that decision. You have to make that choice, how much time to allocate to which subject area, right? So somebody would say I'll give it like 22.5 minutes to both the sections, right? Good, 45 minutes. Somebody would say I'll give 20 minutes to one and 25 minutes to reasoning. So it will be based upon your preferences, your priorities, your strengths and weaknesses, and so many other things. So if you have figured that out, you're doing well, you're satisfied with the performance, you probably are good to go. You're like prepared for the exam is just a few days away. But there are many of you who still believe that there is scope for improvement in this course only on this test taking part. So I cannot teach you quant English reasoning, in 3, 4, 5 days just before the exam. There's a specific reason that we are doing this session very close to the exam. It's not about teaching, it's about strategy, it's about improving your scores through better test taking, right? So here this can be done. So if you are somebody who believes that you still need that slight improvement, you're there but not quite there, not feeling quite good, so I'm here to tell you two other approaches that you can probably use here. I don't know, you might be using something similar already. Wonderful, great. Just listen to me and I'll not take much time in the session. You can try that out before the exam. If it works for you, wonderful. You might boost your scores a little. If it doesn't, just go back to your old strategy. So I'll come to strategy number one. Let me call that. Fine. So what is it? I call it 15-15-15 rule. Fine. So there are two sections here, quant and reasoning, 40 questions each, composite time of 45 minutes. So what many people do is that they'll just give 22.5 minutes, half the time to one section, say quant, and then they'll move to reasoning. It works like that. It works good. So what I'm just asking you to do here is tweak it a little and do it like this. Give 15 minutes to the first section. Say you give 15 minutes to quant. Do your best there. Just forget that it's a 22.5 minute thing. Just give it 15 minutes. Maximize your score out of 40 in that 15 minutes, right? Good, understood. Go to the second one now. If the second is reasoning, you give it another 15 minutes. Fine. Attempted out of 40, give it another 15 minutes. So at the end of 30 minutes, you would have attempted something out of quant and something out of reasoning, right? Something out of all of 80 questions. And you would still be left with 30 minutes, right? 15 minutes, sorry. 15 done, 15 minutes left. And now this 15 minutes is something that you should allocate to maximizing your score. You get the point? Maximizing your score means that when you divide it equally between quant and reasoning, it might work well for you. But at the end of the test, you might realize that though I did well in both the sections, I believe that reasoning was a little easier. I could have done a few more questions in reasoning had I given it a little more time. Right? What is the objective? When the objective is to, yes, clear the sectional cutoffs, good, but to maximize the overall score out of 80, right? Because sectional cutoffs are generally not high enough. If you look at the past year's trends and all, that's not really something that will bother you. If you've done well in the paper, you would generally clear the sectional cutoffs. In any case, you're planning to compete with all these good people around you, scoring well, sectional cutoffs would not bother you until unless you have done so badly in one of the sections that you just don't attempt one of them. Nobody would do that. So as long as you're doing both, it would not bother you. So what should be the target? The target should be to maximize the overall score. So that last 15 minutes that you're left with now should be used to maximize the score. Now this 15 minutes can go completely to one of the sections, say to quant or to reasoning, or it can be allocated like 5 to quant, 10 to reasoning, or the other way around, or whatever you deem fit, right? So just think of it like 80 questions there in front of you. Some of you have already done like 50 of them, 30 left, 30 questions left, 15 minutes left. Do wherever you can maximize the score, not thinking about whether it comes from quant or from reasoning. You got the point? 15 minutes, first 15 minutes to first section, second 15 minutes to second section, maximize the score. How do you do that? By picking the easier questions first, and that's a given. All of you know that easier questions first. You don't have to go in the serial order. And then the last 15 minutes to finding the easiest questions out of all 80, whatever is left, and maximizing the score. What will happen in this and why this is a better practice as compared to just allocating half the time, 22.5 minutes to each of the two sections, is that in case the paper is a little skewed, fine, quant is easier, reasoning tougher, or the other way around, or something like that, more doable questions in one section, you would not miss upon that because you were very strict while allocating time to the sections. You got the point? You might ultimately, eventually, even in this strategy, end up giving 22.5 minutes only to both quant and reasoning, isn't it? This can happen. But based on the merit of the paper, you might give 18 to quant, 27 to reasoning, 15 to quant, 30 to reasoning, or 25 to quant, or 20 to reasoning. You got the point? So this would be the the best possible outcome, if I can call it that, through this strategy. So this is one that I'll suggest. Try doing this. Do not try this on the day of the paper for the first time. When I'm assuming there is some time to go for the paper. Still, do it a few times before the exam. See if this is working for you. See if you're comfortable. Condition yourself accordingly. And then if you believe it's better than what you were trying earlier, stick to it. Got the point? Otherwise, go back to the other one. Let me come to strategy number 2. This is number 2. This is what I would have done in a paper like this. Now, you know that there are two subject areas, quant and reasoning. Fine. There are two subject areas given, but what is the paper like? Paper is 80 questions, 45 minutes. They mention sections name, right? But for you, it's like 80 questions, 45 minutes. Why do you have to think about I'll do quant first or reasoning first? Just start doing the paper. Do the easiest things first. So 5 series questions, sitters, 1 minute, I'll do it first. Then a puzzle, a very, very simple one, 5 questions, I'll do that next. If you can stumble upon it, just scanning the paper quickly, you find the easiest questions, keep doing it. The advantage here in this one would be that you might be at 25 questions after 8 minutes, 10 minutes, because you've picked the easiest questions of the paper first. And a good start invariably makes a lot of difference. Some marks under your belt very quickly and you feel like, high, as though you're on a rampage, foड़ दूंगा paper. ऐसा feeling नहीं आती, like that. So it works. So different things work for different people. This would also work for a lot of people, a lot of you, but try that out first. A pool of 80 questions, 45 minutes. I'm not thinking about quant reasoning, I'm just trying to maximize the score. Again, some of you would think about what would happen to the sectional cutoffs. Just look at the last piece data. Sectional cutoff in this paper is not a problem. It's on the lower side, very low. It's not like if the overall cutoff is say 55 for your state, then it would be 25 for sections. No, it will be very, very low. So it will not bother you. Just keep this one thing in mind. Do not ignore one of the subject areas completely. Right? Don't ignore quant completely or anything. It will not happen because when you're picking the easiest questions to the paper, it would have both. Some questions in quant would be easier, some questions reasoning would be easier. And if it's so skewed that say quant is very, very tough and reasoning is very, very simple, so in that case quant cutoff is bound to be on the lower side. So don't worry too much about the sectional cutoffs. If you are maximizing the score, if you're doing well in the paper, if you're attempting well, in any case you would have done at least reasonably well in both the subject areas. So that's not going to trouble you. Do it like this and can be done. Just to give you an analogy, since you might feel a little uncomfortable saying, I'm doing quant and then reasoning and then quant, how it's going to work? It's like saying I'm doing arithmetic and then DI and then something else and some one question of mensuration and then coming. They could have made sections out of that as well. No, DI is one section, arithmetic is one section. So it depends on paper setters. You adapt accordingly. So it's not a problem. It's a test of problem solving skills. So if you do say a puzzle and then 5 questions for arithmetic, should it be a problem for you? No, it's not. It's all jumbled up. This 80 questions, the difference is this is all problem solving. It's just that they appear in 2 chunks. One of quant, numerical ability, whatever, and one of reasoning. If they jumble it up, then what? It'll be exactly like the way I'm saying you should attempt it. So don't think too much about it. Just focus on maximizing the score. So this is strategy number 2. You take 1, take 2. You can choose between the 2. I would suggest ideally, since it's small test, 45 minutes, just 45 minutes, take 2-3 tests in strategy 1, 2-3 tests in strategy 2, mock tests I'm talking about. See how you adapt to it, how you're doing it, how comfortable you are in doing it, and how your scores. It's not just not about the comfort. I'm feeling comfortable with one, we're not scoring, right? So am I comfortable with it? Can I condition myself for it in the next few days before the exam? You have to practice it a few times before doing it in the exam. Fine. And am I scoring better? How do you check the scores? Through absolute scores, 55 out of 80, 60 out of 80? No. Percentile scores always, relative scores. So if you are somebody who is, say, getting a percentile level around 92, 93 in mock tests these days, just an example, hypothetical example, and with this, you get around 94, 95. It means it's working for you. But give it 2, 3, 4 tests, not like one test. It can happen, no? And you think it's giving a slightly better score consistently, stick to it. Try 2 as well. That might give you 97, or the other way around. In one you get 96, and with 2 you are getting like 94, and stick to 1. Or the existing strategy of yours might be the best. You might be getting 95. With the ways I told you, you might drop down and stick to what you were doing earlier. So it depends on you. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it will not take time. This is not like learning any new thing. This is just, very basic, simple things, commonsensical things, trying to maximize the score. So what you have to do, apart from what have you been doing for revision and everything, just take 3 tests. I'd say 3 tests each in strategy 1 and strategy 2. These 6 tests would not take much of your time and effort. See if you can improve your scores through it. Try it out. If one of this seems to be working for you, go for it in the actual exam. And all the mock tests that you do after that, then stick to that new one. This exam is a little different. RRB prelims, both PO and clerk, as compared to rest of the exams. In those, you get 20 minutes, 35 questions all fixed. Your task cut out, what exactly is to be done. But here it's a bit of a strategy apart from your subject knowledge. So do it accordingly, treat the paper on its merit, try this out, and this should work for you. Guys, the exam season has begun officially. IBPS PO is huge, so get done with this exam, and then you'll have exams coming up, quite quickly, very frequently after that. So I'm sure you are all well prepared, feeling confident about it. We'll do something for IBPS PO as well, but I thought today it's time for talking about RRB. This is there, right in front of us. So we'll keep meeting soon. Keep studying, keep working really hard. These few months can change your life. I keep saying that, and it's fact as well. So yes, keep working really hard. Give it your best. Put your best foot forward. All the best.